Clippers are starting.
They lay a foul on his first and his first. Morris at the line to shoot twice. They lay a foul on his first and his first.
We got Nick.
Hey, we had a turnover to start the game. The show tonight had a couple of bugs. Got to step it up. Hey, my bad, coach. Oh, my bad.
What do you want? Aisle or window? What do you want? Aisle or window?
Hey, welcome everybody to the latest edition of We Got Next here at Chilltown Sports. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with Milwaukee Bucks legendary center Paul Mokeski. Hope everybody's having a great evening, and we're so excited, Mo, to be with Chilltown Hoops and welcome so many new friends in this week. The show seems to be getting more and more visitors each week, so that is really exciting, man.
Shoot, I was at the pool with the kids yesterday, and our show's on Pandora. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're hitting the big time here. We're hitting the big time here with Chilltown Hoops, man. And don't forget to subscribe to our show, and that way you'll be able to check us out every week and get our replays in case you do happen to miss us. And again, welcome to everybody. We already got some comments coming in, and we're going to try to get to all of those. Mo, we had so many questions and comments last week, but we had the great Sidney Moncrief on, your former teammate, that we could not get them all in. But that was just a great conversation with your great friend Sidney yesterday. I know it was good for you to catch up with him.
Yeah, Sidney's just a class person and obviously a Hall of Fame basketball player. I mean, that's one of the underrated players of back in the day in the 80s, because there's so many great players. Everybody, they remember Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, and but there's another group of Karl Malones and John Stocktons and Sidney Moncriefs and Marcus Johnsons and Charles Barkleys and all these guys. Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight. There's so many great players, and Sid was one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can get that replay if you happen to miss the interview. Go to Chilltown Hoops and you can get it. Go to Pandora, you can get it. We're all over the place, as Mo said. Your favorite blog place, you can get our show. Mo,
YouTube. You get on
we're
YouTube.
In the heat of it now. Absolutely, you get it on YouTube. Hey Mo, before we get into specifics, your thoughts of the NBA playoffs so far as we start getting deep into these first round series?
Well, like I always say, right? The most important ability in the NBA is availability. So the teams that have a lot of their main players hurt or out or beat up, they're struggling. And the series that are still series, like the Clippers and the Mavs, and I know the Clippers are not with Kawhi, but they won both games without Kawhi, by the way, because they have a great roster. That's 2-2. And then Cleveland and Orlando, who have healthy players, that's 2-2. But other than that, the teams that are beat up are really, really struggling. And you're talking about high level players that are out, and if they're out for a 7-game series, it taxes the other starters, it taxes your bench, it just puts pressure on everybody to perform. And it's very obvious that injuries are playing a huge role in the playoffs and will continue to play a huge role. I was watching the Miami-Boston game, and Porzingis went out with a calf injury. He might be done for the rest of the series and maybe some more. So, Boston has enough to recuperate from that, but that's going to affect them in the long run to the NBA championship.
Yeah, and I look at the Milwaukee Indiana series. Indiana's up 3-1, and The Bucks didn't have Dame Lillard or Giannis. They hadn't had Giannis all this series, and the Pacers were a problem for them during the regular season as well. And they are both doubtful for tomorrow's game. Mo. Let's start with the Pacers in Milwaukee.
Well, first of all, to start the series, even without Giannis, they were doing fine. The problem is they wasted a great game by Middleton. I think he had 42 or 3 or whatever, and they had a chance to win that game, but they didn't rebound. So Indiana got 3, 4, 5 chances to score at the end in the last 2 minutes, and that's a game. Win, the series is tied up, right? And now maybe you can absorb with those guys not playing and come back for game 6. But now you blew that game without blocking out and letting Halliburton have like 6 or 7 offensive rebounds. And now your season's pretty much over. I mean, no Giannis, no Lillard. I think I saw Middleton hobble off last game, so they're pretty much done. And it's too bad because I would have liked them to see them move on a little bit in the East, but because I think the way if they were healthy, they would give Boston Celtics a run for their money. But that's beside the point. They're not.
Yeah, and Mo, in the last game they lost Bobby Portis in the first quarter of that game when he was ejected.
Yeah, I mean, not a very smart play. I mean, push, push, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But then he did the old pimp slap, and that got him ejected. So I mean,
and got sent to the shower. I mean,
yeah.
and he's a veteran guy. He had to know they needed him on the floor.
Yeah, they don't have Giannis and they don't have Lillard. I mean, their only chance is if he comes up big, and that's another thing we'll start talking about is players that are not the top 2 players on their teams per se are the ones that come up big. I was watching a Celtic game, and they're handling Miami pretty comfortably, but the reason they are is because Derek White has 22 points at halftime. 22 points. A backup guy. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what these guys step up. That's what teams win or stay in games. And Portis getting kicked out give the Bucks no chance to win that game. I mean, he was one of their only viable scorers left to go to.
Yeah, but man, he was a good pickup for them when he got when they picked him up. I think it was from San Antonio. I was thinking, well, he's okay, but I don't see him being a real difference maker. But he's played really well for them. Been a solid guy for them offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I mean, people have no idea how good players in the NBA are. They have no idea how good the 10th, 11th, and 12th guy are. They don't know. You don't know. And then when guys like that are given an opportunity and they shine, it shows how good they are. I was looking at, for some reason, I was looking at my stats over my 12-year history. And my best year was in Detroit, where I averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds a game. You know how many minutes I averaged? The most minutes I ever averaged in 12 years? Take a guess.
What? 20?
21 minutes.
25.
21. That's the most I ever averaged. I mean, what if I'm playing 35? Where is my career then? But guys get opportunities. There's guys that you don't know who they are, like Portis a few years ago, that now, he's almost a 20 and 10 guy now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mo, we got these questions and comments coming in. We're going to get right to them. And again, welcome everybody. Start here. Mo, you ever talk with Charles Barkley? I know you definitely battled with Barkley over the years. Him being a 6'4", was he 6'4", 6'5", 6'6"?
6'5".
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question,
So yeah, I mean,
no, I've never really run into him. We talked at the end. We went out, had beers and stuff during my career, but I haven't really run into him anywhere. I would like to because he's a really good guy. He's really interesting and funny as hell. But no, I haven't. I haven't talked to him in a long, long time.
Steve wants to know what are the baseball caps today. Are you kidding me? The mighty Detroit Tigers on this end, and Mo has the Las Vegas. Are those the
Aviators.
Aces?
No, the Aviators, the minor league baseball team.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. Of course, you'll have the A's there next year, Mo. It's only a matter
No,
of time before Oakland comes to uh, uh, Las
they're playing.
Vegas.
They're playing in Sacramento for the next 2 years.
Yeah, but that's for the next 2 years.
Yeah, they're playing in their minor league stadium till
Yeah.
they build the one
You
here.
guys will get them along with a NBA team.
Well,
I can see it coming. Hey,
yeah,
hey, let's get to some more of these series,
the A's, the A's,
Mo. Is
the
there
A's,
anyone you want to get to?
well, I want to answer that first. The A's are coming here. It's just a delay of a couple of years because the stadium is not built. So they'll be here. I think they're going to be here in 3 years. And by then, I think there'll be an NBA team here too also.
Oh, for sure. Nobody wants the A's. Steve says, I don't know about that, Steve. Hey, once upon a time, that was a great franchise with some great teams, man.
Long time ago.
And they could get back there if they go to Vegas. Yeah, but if they go to Vegas, they're going to have the money and the backing to become players once again. They just don't have the money to compete now out in Oakland.
Yeah, it depends on who the owner. If the ownership's the same,
Hey, Mo,
has to spend
let's get
money.
to some of these.
We have a delay, Ricky, so I'm answering questions while
Right.
you're
Yeah.
asking them.
Okay. I'm noticing that, and I will keep that in mind. I don't know why we got this delay going, but it happens sometimes. But we can make this work. Hey, Mo, let's get into some of these series. We touched on Milwaukee and Indy and what's happening there. Let's go to one that's actually become a series. Cleveland just pounced all over Orlando the first two games, and then Orlando bounced back to win the next two games.
Yeah, so there hasn't been a close game in that whole series, and that goes back to inexperience. So both those teams have very limited experience in the playoffs and moving on to the playoffs. So blowouts happen more often. They're both young teams. They're both talented teams. I think they both overachieved. I think the Cavs starting five is a little bit better, but Orlando has some nice backup players. So I think that's going to be a game that comes down, maybe to Game 7, and I would put money on the home team winning that Game 7, whoever that is.
Yeah, yeah, and really, I think that's the series. Nobody has really hadn't caught the fancy of many people outside of Cleveland and Orlando, because you've had some of these other series that have had some of the star power of the NBA trying to get the job done, like the Suns in Minnesota. My goodness, they got swept. I mean, when I know this isn't what the Suns had in mind when they brought Bradley Beal in there to join Kevin Durant and Kevin Booker and Mo, and they got 150 million invested in their contracts.
Yeah, it's actually more than that, way more than that, because they're over the salary cap. So you could probably about double that is what they actually have to pay every year. So and it goes back to what I say. The 12 best players don't necessarily make up the best team. The best team, the best fit, the best attitude, the best players that are willing to sacrifice. That's the team that wins. And that was Minnesota over Phoenix. I mean, you can't tell me that Minnesota was overwhelmingly more talented than Phoenix. They're not, but they're a better team. They play defense. They have size. They're physical. Unfortunately, my friend Chris Finch got ran into and rolled up. I think he's going to need knee surgery here this week. But I texted him after the game, and he's doing okay. So hopefully he'll be back on the bench for Saturday's game against whoever that might be, which is probably Denver, which is going to be a really good series.
And Mo, you coach with Chris Finch, so you know him very well, and he's been a very good coach wherever he's gone. What is it that makes him so good?
Well, he's a basketball forethinker, almost genius-like, especially offensively. He knows his stuff, and he's becoming a better and better communicator with his players. And you could see that right at the game when he got hurt. His players were all protective and circled around him. And I've told you this a long time ago. In the NBA and mostly in almost every level, but especially in the NBA, the players have to let you coach them. Just ask any of them. Look at the team. You look at the Lakers with Darvin Ham. They're not really paying attention to him in the huddle. They don't respect him or whatever that might be. But Chris he has knowledge. He has respect. He holds players accountable. He doesn't care, if you're a star or not. He's going to get in your face. And that's the key for success. And he's very adaptable. He's done something that nobody thought he could do. Play two 7-footers at the same time. Gobert and Towns, and doing it very effectively. So, and Anthony Edwards is a star of the league now. But Chris is just he knows his stuff, and he doesn't really jump on players and embarrass them. He does it the right way.
Casey checks in to say Anthony Edwards is the next MJ. You got hot.
No. Yeah, no. Sorry, Case. That's my cousin. I mean, that's my nephew. Sorry, Case. I've heard that 8 million times. How this guy's the next Michael Jordan. This Zion's the next Michael Jordan. This guy, ain't no other next Michael Jordan. But Anthony Edwards, because of not only his athleticism and his deep threes, but you look at his basketball IQ now, and his passing is really, really good, and he's unselfish, and the guys love playing for him. He's not the next MJ, but he is right up there with the face of the NBA for the next 10 years, probably.
Yeah, and Casey's asked, Minnesota might have it this year. Are they championship caliber, Paul?
I think so. I mean, it's going to be an interesting series. I don't know, maybe the Lakers pull out a game against Denver tonight. I think that's a long shot. But I think Denver and Minnesota is going to be a very, very interesting series. Denver is really, really good. And they have guys that play roles that know what their role is. They love playing with each other, playing for each other and the coach. They got a great mentality. They're the former champions, defending champions. But I think Minnesota gives them something they haven't seen. Two legit 7-footers on the floor to be able to contest with the Joker. And
Joe.
also the guy that's stepping up a lot is Nazi Reed, the backup center that can really shoot the three and score. So they're going to be a handful with Anthony Edwards,
Yeah.
and they got a 35-year-old point guard that really is really running the team. So it's going to be an interesting series, and Minnesota could handle Denver, and then. I think they could handle OKC, and it would be an interesting matchup against the Celtics, who probably, with Embiid getting hurt and all this, and the Bucks being all hurt, I would love to see a Celtic Minnesota finals.
Well, I think we were having some technical issues, but let's keep pushing. Hey, on that series, what do you do in Phoenix? You tear that thing down?
Well, I don't. You owe $600 million to their big three, so you have no room to work. You have one draft pick. You spent all your money on those big three. There's no room to work. What are you going to do? The thing you can't do is, I don't think anybody's going to take Beal. So do you trade Kevin Durant? Do you trade Booker? Or let's think about this. What has Kevin Durant done in the past? He has left. He just leaves. He demands a trade. So if that happens, then you start looking for the best players that make up the best team. You get three legit players for him, from a team and some draft picks, and then you move on. But they're hand tied with their salaries they paid out. The guy's a multi-billionaire, but you get your hands tied with salary cap.
Yeah, and think about it, Mo. 3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, they were in the finals. They were in the finals. Won 60, I think they won 62 games or something. Had a great season. Things can go the other way quickly in this league. And now they're swept in the first round. I tell you, it's been an entertaining series, Paul. Even though the Knicks are up 3-1, Philly's been right there, and it just gave a game away the other night. They gave Game 4 away to the Knicks. Let's talk a little bit about that series.
Well, obviously the big story is Embiid, right? Embiid is on one leg, and on that leg he scored 50 points, by the way. But his knee is not right, and he's suffering from Bell's palsy, so his left eye won't close. It doesn't. So he's had a problem with that, and it gives him blurred vision. And can you imagine that? And then you score 50 and whatever he scored the other night. So he's holding that team together. The Knicks are just maybe a little better defensively, but you got to remember the Knicks don't have Randall either, one of their best players. He's hurt. So, that's an interesting series, but you can't give away games in the 7-game series because you can't get them back. They're just gone.
Hey, Mo, take us back to to Game 4 where the Sixers blew that lead late, and there's some issues with the officiating that took place in that game. That's still a game you got to put away, right?
Yes, I mean, the stupid NBA 2-minute report came back.
I mean, game 3, I'm talking about Game 3.
Yeah, so they missed 3 calls. They didn't call a push. They didn't call a hold. The Knicks capitalized on it. But the bottom line is, you should have been in that situation to begin with. You should have been in that position. And if you put the you put the game in the hands of a referee, you never know what's going to happen, man. You got to take care of business, and they didn't. And the Knicks took care of the advantage. And the refs screwed up. The refs screw up all the time. Just look at the games. I mean, Russell gets hit in the head and they don't call it because he released the basketball. So are you saying that once the guy released the basketball, I can punch him in the face? I mean, come on, man. Un, ineffective contact. What are you talking about? So, you can't wait around for the refs to make a call. You can't expect them to make calls. You got to take care of business, and that takes uh, uh, thinking process and guts and toughness. That's how you win series.
And the Knicks, they got that, and a lot of that comes from Thibodeau, who's a defensive minded coach. He's a no nonsense, gritty kind of coach, and his team kind of plays that way.
Yeah, I mean, look at Harkenstein, their big kid that's starting now. He was in the D League 2 years ago. He's big, he's physical, he's got decent hands, he's tough, and now he's playing big minutes for the Knicks. So, he fits right in with what they do. And, Brunson's going to do his thing. He's just phenomenal. But they have pieces that are willing to play defense and be physical. And, they, they're overachieving, I think, right now with Randall out, but who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Philly if they lose this series and they're down 3-1. The process has not panned out so far with Joel Embiid, and well, I don't think any of this is really his fault.
No, I mean, he's kind of like I think he said in a reporter the other, why does it always happen to me? I mean, he's had a bad back, bad knee, Bell's palsy. I mean, who hears that? You know, and he's been unlucky. I mean,
Yeah,
the process was fumbling around, but they got the pieces now, and they were going in the right direction. Uh, and then he gets hurt towards the end of the season, and then he comes back. He's not 100%. So it's too bad because with the full health of Philly is one of the teams in the East, maybe the only team in the East that could give the Celtics problems.
and speaking of the Celtics, let's go there and talk about Boston and Miami. Last time I checked, they were in control of Game 4, and they're looking to go up 3-1 on the Heat. After losing one, I was shocked that they lost that game. But Miami, they came in there and played tough, and they're a tough-minded team, but they don't have their best player, Jimmy Butler. And Mo, that's one of the things I've always learned listening to you talk. Tell me who's healthy. And you look at these playoffs, Milwaukee's without its two best players. Uh, Miami doesn't have its best players. Kawhi Leonard's been hurt in LA. You got to have your guys down come playoff time. But the Celtics still look like the team to beat in the East.
Well, that's why when I look at all the rosters at the beginning of the year, you have to have players. You have to have enough players. You have to have a roster. That's why I've not jumped on the Denver bandwagon because they don't have any bench. Their bench is terrible. Their starting five is phenomenal, but things pop up. I mean, when you look at the deepest rosters in the NBA, it's the Boston Celtics. It was the Bucks before they had their rash of injuries, and it's the Clippers. Those are the deepest teams. I mean, Boston picked up Holiday and Porzingis, Brown and Tatum. Derek White, I think, has 35 tonight. Horford's a backup. Pritchard's nice. Hauser's good. They have 8 or 9 deep they can go. So when Porzingis is hurt, I think he might be out for a while, but they can absorb, and just put Horford, who was their starting center last year, in that spot because they're deep enough.
Mo, are you there, Mo? I
Yes,
apologize, everybody. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here. Paul, are you
I'm
back?
here. I've been here. Hello?
Okay, we lost you. We lost you on the stream for a minute. Uh, these things happen, everybody. As you well know, just bear with us. We'll get it worked out. Um, in the meantime, let's go to some of these comments here on screen. Oh, I'm losing everything here.
It still hasn't
Ah,
survived.
oh,
Well, Steve, I can answer that
Steve's
question. I'm
talking
not
about the
very,
Knicks
yeah, I
fans
don't know.
being in Philly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like, that you're right. That didn't really happen. People, fans didn't really travel like they are, but how close New York is to Philly. It was crazy how many Knicks fans were in Philly. Obviously, the players felt it, and Embiid kind of made a comment about it. So it's going to be interesting what happens moving forward. And but that happens because fans sell their tickets. So are we going to support our team, or are we going to make some money here? Maybe we'll make a little bit of money. And that's what they did. And the Knicks overpowered Philly fan wise in Philly the other day.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, they certainly did. Hey, Mo, while I try to fix this, I'm going to put some of our comments on the screen and just have you discuss them.
So what do I think about this changes for the Bucks next year? Well, the season isn't even over yet, so let's wait a little bit. I would have to look at what commitments they have. I know Damus signed, Giannis is signed, Portis is signed. I think Middleton might be a free agent or a restricted free agent. But they have to get younger. They have to get more athletic. But that's easier said than done, especially when you need players. Steve, today's players, the best players make 40, 50, 60 million dollars. So you sign a player, one of the best players for 50 million dollars, that's almost half your budget, your salary cap. So you got to really balance that. You got to bring in the right people. Um, I don't know if they're regretting the Dame Holiday switch up they did. They thought they were going to get more firepower offensively, but it just hadn't really clicked. But sometimes it takes longer. I thought they were playing better. They need a deeper bench. Cogniton doesn't get it for me. Sorry. Lopez, I love his game, but, they don't go to him enough. Only when Giannis is out or someone's out do they give him the ball in the post and he gets 25 and 15. But, so they're going to have some decisions to make, like a lot of teams. Phoenix is going to have to make decisions. The Lakers are going to have to make decisions. There's so many decisions out there to be made, but it's not easy to change players around. It's not like fantasy baseball because you have salary caps and you have commitments. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be an interesting off season for a lot of these teams. And then as far as Zion in New Orleans, if it's me and I'm New Orleans, I'm done. I mean, he's been up and down. He's been hurt his whole career. He was really out of shape and heavy at the beginning of the year. and then he lost 20 pounds, he got himself healthy, but then got hurt again. To me, when he's on the sidelines, even he doesn't even think he's interested or really concerned about the game. So, if I'm New Orleans, it's time maybe let's move on and get a couple big pieces for him, save some money, get a couple of young players in there, and see where we are because obviously this is not working. I don't know. I think you're frozen, Ricky. I'm not sure if you're gone or not. But I'll just continue on for a little bit. Whoever's out there listening. Um, so we haven't talked about Denver, LA, which is coming up tonight, I believe. And Anthony Davis has been playing his butt off. LeBron is playing well. I just They don't have enough of a bench. Reeves is so up and down, and Murray might be out tonight. I'm not sure, but man, Denver just knows how to play. They know how to play together. They get the most out of their role players, and I think if Murray's out, Lakers might have an outside chance to win tonight, but I don't think they win the series. So Denver's moving on. Minnesota obviously got rid of Phoenix last night. And I think Denver and Minnesota is going to be a great series. Maybe the series that should be the West Finals, but they won't be. Clippers and Mavs is a toss up. Luca and Kyrie are learning how to play together. Dallas has gotten bigger, more athletic. They have size now and depth that they haven't had. And Kawhi's been out for the Clippers, and some of the other guys have been up and down. Westbrook sometimes seems more interested in yelling at fans than he is in winning the game. So that's a distraction. So I think the Mavs will pull that out. It might go 7. I'm not so sure. And I think Luca's banged up a little bit too. But I think Dallas wins that one. Um, and then they're going to play OKC. It looks like because Zion. Obviously, we talked about he's out. New Orleans put up, have been in some games, but OKC is younger, more athletic, and talented. And Shea Alexander is one of the up and coming great point guards. Holmgren is holding his own in the post position, even though he's not a old fashioned post. He is 7'3", can shoot threes, block shots, and rebounds. Okay, so OKC, and then that will be an interesting series. I think OKC with Dallas. That'll be really interesting. And then we're looking in the East. We just talked about it a little bit. Boston is beating up on Miami as we speak. With no Jimmy Butler, there's probably no chance. And they'll go down 3-1 back to Boston. I think the concern for Boston right now is I saw Porzingis hurt his calf or something like that, and he's out of the game. So if I'm Boston, I need to get him back as soon as possible. Probably don't need him in this series, especially if you win tonight. You can go without him on the next game. Give him a good week to rehab and hopefully back for the next series, which is a toss up for me between the Cavs and Orlando. Orlando has been an exciting team all year. They've held their own. So has Cleveland. I think Cleveland, they have size, they have athleticism, they got a great backcourt, and I think I see them winning that series, but not whoever wins that series won't put up much of a fight against the Boston Celtics. That's going to be an uphill battle against Boston, the best team in the league besides Denver, possibly. And then, unfortunately, my Bucks might be bowing out tonight with no Giannis and no Lillard and a banged up Middleton. There's just, Indy is, they're young, they're hungry, they're tough. Halliburton is a great young player. And unfortunately, injury bug hit my Milwaukee Bucks again this year. And, I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. I don't know what you can do to stay healthy and keep your players healthy. But that's been a bug for them, and I don't know if they'll address that. And then
He's having some terrible problems tonight.
I'm on a roll, man.
He
So
does
that,
look heavy to me.
and then the Knicks are probably with Embiid being hurt, probably going to take that series, and the New York Indy series is going to be really interesting. That's a toss-up. So while we were gone, Ricky, I went over every series and made my predictions, and I'm gonna bet my house on everything.
Oh, I got you back. Can you hear me?
I've been talking the whole time.
Oh, so it's just me being missed, huh?
Yep.
Did you see Steve's comment about Luca? Did you touch on that?
No, I just saw it. So Luca's one of those guys. He's like the Joker, right? They never look in shape. So, is he a little heavy? I don't know. I think he kind of looks that way, but a lot of guys are like that. You know, uh, I was like that, but I never had the six pack and never had that kind of frame. But I think he's banged up, Steve. I think his knee is bothering him, which limits your practice time and your workouts. So, that could be a problem. And I think I saw the other night that he had apologized to Kyrie because he feels bad because hasn't been holding his own or living up to his expectations. So, that's going to be an interesting series because it is tied up 2-2, and for whatever reason, the Los Angeles Clippers are not in rhythm and sync. And the weirdest thing about that, you guys, is they've won both of their games without Kawhi Leonard, one of their best players. And you hate to say, maybe they play better without him, but facts are facts. When he's played, they lost two. When he hasn't played, they've won two. So that's going to be interesting moving forward on what happens there. So um, uh, as far as Luca, we'll go back to there. There's just guys that kind of look like that, but I think his knee is bothering him, so you can't really do anything. Maybe you can get on the bike or something like that. But and at this point in the season, you're just trying to stay healthy. And if you're a little bit heavy, you're going to be a little bit heavy till the end of the year, and then try to attack it in the off season and see what happens. But that's the other thing with Luca and a lot of these guys, these players. Now that the Olympics are this year in Paris, a lot of these guys are going to be going. The farther you go in the playoffs in the NBA, the closer it moves you up to the Olympic deadline. And so you play for 8 or 9 months in the NBA, you get a month off, and then you go back right at it with about 6 weeks of preparation for the Olympics and then the Olympics. So that will wear on your body. And Luca's been playing for a lot with his national team during the summers for almost every summer. So that wear and tear, it adds up over the years. So, it's going to be, you got to monitor your health. You got to monitor, your weight. And, I think that's just kind of the way he looks and the way he is out there. So um, that answers that question. I'm not sure if Ricky is going to get back to us. Um, so we're going to see um, what we can talk about. The other thing I wanted to bring up, it's not NBA, it's college. Just wanted to talk about the transfer portal. And I saw a comment the other day, which is really true, by the way, that the transfer portal started in high school. Because back 100 years when I was in high school, you only played for the high school that was was in your neighborhood, and you weren't allowed to transfer wherever you wanted and play on other teams. And that has changed where players are playing for two and three different high schools. Then they go to college, and now that the transfer portal lets you play as soon as you move, um, you know, these guys are used to moving. They were used to moving in AAU teams. You move from team to team and bounce around and play with your buddies. But now in high school, you do that. And now in college, it's getting out of hand where, if a player comes in and he's not happy right off the bat, instead of sticking it out for a year or two and see how that goes and work yourself into the roster and into the starting lineup, instead of that, you just bail and go to some other school. I mean, I saw a resume of one of the players that's in the draft this year. He went to 3 high schools and 4 colleges. So he never stayed at the same school for more than 2 years. And to me, that's a problem. So I just kind of wanted to comment on that today. And I don't know if we're gonna be able to get to Ricky back on here. So rather than me just ramble on and keep talking, I'm gonna sign off. Appreciate all you people out there, all the questions. Tell your friends. We talk basketball. We talk other sports, but mainly basketball. We love the sport of basketball. I loved it for all my whole life, ever since I was a little kid. And are we back, Ricky? I was getting ready to sign off.
No, I apologize, everybody.
I've been
We're
I've been
having
telling my
some
whole
technical difficulties.
I've been telling my whole life story.
Well, Mo, I mean, I can listen to you talk hoops all night, so it's a treat for the audience just to hear you talk some hoops and sports instead of having to put up with me. Uh, but let me go to some of these questions.
You
This
want me
is
to answer
about
that?
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. So I mean, his knee has been bothering him for a long
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
Steve. And I don't know if he's ever got back to 100%. And believe coming from someone that I've had 5 knee surgeries and knee replacement, once they take cartilage out, once they fix a ligament, it just never seems the same. You can build it up and get the strength back, but he's struggled with these kind of injuries his whole career. And, he's played a lot of minutes and a lot of basketball, and it's starting to catch up to him. And, some of those things you just can't come back full speed from. That's just the way it is.
Hey, Mo, had you hit on the Denver and Lakers series at all?
Yep. I talk
That
about
game will
every
be
series.
coming up in a few minutes.
I
And
talk about every series.
okay, and well, just to fill me in, do you think the Lakers have a shot here tonight?
I think they always have a shot if you got LeBron and AD who's playing. I mean, the guy's scoring 30, 40 points and getting 20 rebounds, AD. And they have to have help from Reeves, Hachimura, and those guys. But if Murray's out, that tax, and we talked about this, Denver's not very deep. So you take Murray out of the starting lineup, you got to insert, Christian Brown or someone like that. Now your bench is non-existent. So I think if the Lakers can stay focused, they've led every half. At every halftime, they led every game, and finally they broke through and won the game. It will be interesting. I think they can win tonight. I don't think they can win the series, but I think they can win tonight and take it back to LA for Game 6. Yeah, I do. It's going to be tough though.
And what do you always say when you got a series? If you got a chance to put them away, you got to put them away.
You don't want anything dragging on. Guys get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one thing we were talking about off the air, I don't know if you touched on this while I was down, was the value of role players. I watched the first half of the Boston Miami game tonight, and I consider Derek Jackson Derek White to be a role player, even though he's a starter. But he had
Yes.
22 points, Mo,
At halftime. Yes.
at
Yeah.
halftime.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, okay, let's go through Aaron Gordon for Denver, right? He's a starter, but he's more of a role player. So in the games they won, he had 12 and 11, 14 and 7, 29 and 15. And the game that the Lakers beat him, he had 7 points and 3 rebounds. So that affects games more than anybody knows. I mean, D'Angelo Russell, in game 3, he had no points. No points. And then in game 4, he had 21 points. So those guys, you know, my thought is stars are going to be stars, right? They're going to do what they can do. Like you look at let's look at the Denver Lakers series. Murray, 22 and 10, 20 and 3, 22 and 5, 22 and 6. Joker, 32 and 12, 27 and 20, 24 and 15, 33 and 14. LeBron, 27 and 6, 26 and 12, 26 and 6, 30 and 5. AD, 32 and 14, 32 and 11, 33 and 15, 25 and 23. So they're going to do what they do. And then you look at Russell, he has 23 and 3, and the next game he has 0. Reeves has 9 and 6, and then he goes for 22 and 5. So those guys, the stars, you see the stars are going to do what they do usually, unless they have a really bad game. It's the other guys that have to come through and win games that you're struggling a little bit, or just win games against better opponents. And it's so important. Those role guys. Barkley. I mean, let's when we played the Celtics, we knew Larry Bird was going to be Parrish and McHale. They were going to do their thing, but we couldn't let Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, any of those other guys. That's the way it was. With Philly, Moses Malone, Charles Barkley, okay, Dr. J, but we can't let Mo Cheeks or Averoni or someone like that go off. That's the essence of the NBA in 7-game series. The role players are going to get you wins that you were struggling with and get you to the next round. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, you know who was a great role player? You just talked about those great 76er team. Bobby Jones.
Yeah.
I used to love his game, Mo.
Yeah, Bobby Jones could score. He defended. He was athletic. He ran the floor. He was a great teammate. Let's go back to the Lakers dynasty, right? Kurt Rambis. Right? He started all those games. You got to have those guys. Those are the guys that make the difference on your team.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we just got a couple of more minutes, and we'll try to have all this worked out by next week. But how bad is Giannis really hurt?
I'm not there. I mean, Steve, who knows? I mean, I think that Giannis is a player that if he could play,
What's your suspicion, though, Paul?
Well, I think if he could play, he would play. If he could play, he would play. And the problem with Achilles, and I told you, it's not an ankle, it's not a knee, it's not an elbow. If it's a hamstring or a calf muscle or Achilles, man, those things can snap like that. So, I think Giannis is not sitting on the bench going, "Wow, I like to chill." He wants to be out there, so I got to believe it's pretty bad. And we all saw what happened to Kevin Durant, right?
Yeah.
When he was with the Warriors, right? We saw that where he popped he hurt his Achilles, came back and popped it. So when you're talking about injuries like that,
Yeah. Hey, last time I checked, Derek White had 35, Mo.
he'll have 40 if he
The
play
role
for
player.
playoff. Yeah, I mean those are the guys. I mean, you know what? If Tatum had 35, you wouldn't care, right? He always does that. So what?
Right.
But he's going to do
Right.
that. So those are the guys that step up. The guys that are averaging 5 points get 12 and 6 boards. That's a difference. That's a big difference maker.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mo, we may as well shut it down, man. And until next week, we appreciate your patience and sticking with us tonight. We got another question though, before we get out of here. Was Dave Collins with you in Milwaukee? I don't remember a Dave Collins.
Cowens. Dave Cowens?
Did you play with a Dave Collins?
Dave Cowens.
Are you talking about Dave Cowens, the great Celtics center? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. He played
Steve
in
just
Milwaukee for
misspelled.
one.
Yeah, I'm sure he's talking about Cowens. Yeah.
Yeah, I played with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there when I was there for a year.
He was on the tail end. Yeah. When he got there. Yeah. So well,
Yeah,
hey
we
man, Mo, you
so we
played with
had-
some great centers, didn't you? Moses Malone, Dave Cowens, Bob Lanier.
So you look at the Bucks back then. We had these are names. We had Dave Cowens, Taney Archibald, Phil Ford, got Charlie Chris, guys that joined. Nelly would pick them up like later in their career, and then they would contribute to us. But yeah, I mean, I played against and with some great centers. Jack Sigma.
Yes, sir. Guest of the show, friend of the show,
Yep.
Jack Sigma.
Yep.
Hey, well, Mo, let's get out of here, and we'll do it again next week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget Chilltown Hoops. Check us out there, and we'll see you next time. From my great friend Paul Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Good night, everybody. Take
Peace.
care.